Loose cannons, what's up? It's your boy Stank Bastard King Idiot here with Samurai Ali and Poppy Latte, and we just got done recording probably my favorite episode ever, with none other than the coach's son, Jake Arians. And that's not all we have to talk about. I've got some exciting news. We have an official wing sponsor, Sauce and Wings, at Sauce and Wings on Twitter. Not only do we have an official wing sponsor, but we're doing our very first Loose Cannons watch party at circa 1949 in Tampa, right around the corner from Lowry Park Zoo. More information to follow. Samer's going to tweet out all the times, the address, everything. Just you be there.
Social distance, Samer?
Dude, listen. Hey, this is the coolest thing about this place. They're super careful when it comes to socially distance. This will be socially distant. It will be safe. If you have a problem with masks or any of those types of things, don't bother showing up because they're pretty strict about it. And I applaud that, especially considering I'm getting over COVID. Now, the cool thing about it also, they're going to have some wing specials. They're going to have some drink specials and mimosa deals, things like that. We're going to have a gigantic outside area to hang out and watch the party or watch the football game, hang out, have wings. And what's cool about this is we're going to have a 145-inch projector screen. It's going to be outside. You can sit inside if you want. Hang out with us. We're going to shoot a 30-minute live show leading up to kickoff. You can get on camera, screw around with us, tell us your score predictions, or just yell at us because you don't like the fact that we love blue cheese. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter.
I can actually confirm, the three of us can confirm, it's been confirmed that they're actually not serving any ranch for the watch party. It's only
no ranch in the building. Bring your own ranch, bitch, because
listen,
you don't have any.
B-Y-O-R. Bring your own B-Y-O-F-R. Bring your own fucking ranch.
No, don't bring your own ranch. I don't want that shit around me. I don't want to smell it.
Keep your ranch in your car, bro. Keep it in the car.
Thank you. So these guys, Sauce and Wings, the reason they're the official wing of the show is because they only believe, and they have a very strict belief system that blue cheese is the only sauce that you can dip your wing in. That's just the law.
We also believe in extra crispy and saucy.
Thank you. All jokes aside.
Is there somebody out there who likes the wings not crispy? Is there even a person who's like, hey man,
who likes them mushy?
Yeah, I like the skin to be a little loose.
Yeah, little.
It's probably that same lady who brings you the potato salad with the raisins when you have her over for a cookout.
That's intern Betty, bro.
No
colorful
wings.
That's a Karen.
No texture. Just
come tailgate with us. Come party with us.
Watch the game.
We will tweet out
the game with us.
We'll tweet out all the information. You get to hang out with us, which, I mean, that in itself is fucking awesome, right? Fuck. I mean, just me. Forget these two guys, right? Hang out with Samer, bro. Come on.
Wait.
Good stuff.
Samer, I'm pretty sure Samer's going to have, like, when you go to the club, you know, and them dudes up there in the corner with the bottle, and they got a little rope and the security guard. I'm pretty sure Samer's going to have, like, that section.
Samer's going to be
behind the velvet
Samer's going to be looking like Mayweather. You know Mayweather, where his bodyguards are like 8 feet tall. You can't even see Mayweather. Yeah. That's gonna be fucking Samer. Like Samer,
you gotta purchase a ticket if you want to meet Samer Ali.
You gotta shake Samer Ali's hand.
No, I'm not shaking anybody's hands. If you want to give me a dap, you gotta buy a ticket at the door. That's just how it goes.
I like it. Hey, listen, and all proceeds go to the Arians Family Foundation.
I love it.
Can we do that? Can that happen?
Oh, for the tickets? Yeah, absolutely.
Why not? For the kissing booth, for the Samurai Ali kissing booth.
It's a kissing booth now.
Listen, if you like to gamble, okay, he's going to be freshly off of COVID. If you're the gambling type,
no, you're not kissing me on the lips. I will let you kiss. I'll let you kiss this beautifully chiseled and very grizzle-free.
We don't know if you didn't take your shirt off. Me and Stank did.
Yeah, you didn't take shirt off.
Shirts off. It sounds like you're afraid to take your shirt off.
We have sponsors, all right? The lovely people over at Red Cat Plumbing, all right? They were not going to be down with all three hosts taking their shirts off. Now, come on. You guys were on the ledge. You guys were sad. I wasn't. I'm a positive guy. I understand it's a long season. I was somehow the voice of reason. Of course, I'm the handsomest on here, so why wouldn't I be the smartest and the most voice of reason guy on here, right? That's the weirdest way to fucking put that. But you know where I'm going with that, of course. So, listen, come hang out with us. Love you guys.
I'll be there. Ren Dax will be there. No shirt, Ren. All right,
Ren?
you come.
Yellow tour?
Yeah, no hat, Ren. I want to see Drew Brees out that fucking party.
Yes.
Welcome to another episode of the Loose Cannons Podcast. I am your host, the Great Sammer, hanging out with my boys, Chicken Breast. No, we call him Poppy Latte. And Stank, and a special guest who just randomly popped up and decided to hang out with us, the awesome Jake Arians. Welcome to the show and the coolest, but also the weirdest Bucs podcast you will ever be a part of, bro. How you doing?
He hasn't been on my mind yet.
I dig it. I'm excited. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on here. I'm gonna let Stank ask that first question because I know he's.
We're gonna start with that.
Go ahead, bro. Yes, I'm gonna let you ask it. Just get it off your chest. Yeah, let it go.
No, I was gonna say we're gonna start this podcast by asking you about Matt Gay. I don't think so. We have to start by asking you about yesterday's game and what went wrong, Jake.
No preseason. You know, it's an easy excuse, but when you're that talented, you saw the talent everywhere. We played our asses off. We'll get into how badass the defense was in a minute, but they made their mistakes. New quarterback. I'm going to write an article this week for the Draft Network. I've kind of do a quarterback-centric article every Friday. This one's going to be, no matter your resume, quarterbacks in new places, especially with this crazy-ass offseason, no preseason, it's tough. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. Tom's getting killed today. Like all of a sudden he's 43. He's got nothing left. He's the 7th highest graded quarterback of the weekend. That's as bad as you're ever going to see him play. Mm-hmm. Okay. Donovan Smith struggled at left tackle. Tristan Wirfs was a beast at right tackle. It just wasn't complimentary football. There's a lot of hidden yardage in the special teams game that was lost. We started inside our own 25 every time. They started close to the 50. The defense was great, but they jump off sides on a 4th and 2. They have a couple, terrible timings on pass interferences. But at the same time, Carlton Davis, who gets no love, shuts down the best receiver in football, 3 for 17.
Shit, bald.
Until they have the goofy little trick pass at the end. Alvin Kamara's got 16 rushing, 19 receiving. Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns, but he did nothing. Mm-hmm. The defense gave up 260 total yards. It was just hard to play complimentary football with the turnovers. Their punt return game was great. There's hidden yardage in that. So field position alone, when you're playing a team that good. By the way, we ain't the freaking Patriots playing the Dolphins at home. We're playing the damn Saints on the road in week 1. I think it was the best thing that could have happened. Period. Everybody's like, we're up against it. We play the Saints in week 1. We know where the bar is. We're within 7 in the 4th quarter after all this crap's happened. We muff a damn kickoff. Mm-hmm. We see the bar. We're not going to play that bad again. Tom's going to do nothing but get better. A lot of the mistakes are going to get cleaned up. They're not coached that way. But when you don't have a preseason, and I'm not making excuses, but it matters. And you saw it across the league, especially new quarterbacks and new places. Head coach and quarterback continuity is just too damn important. And when you're going into this crazy-ass season with this offseason, they're going to have a little bit of a jump. I was not impressed with the Saints at all. Drew Brees looks done. And I love Drew, one of the greatest of all time. I don't think he gets the credit he's due, but he looks done. To bring in Taysom Hill, to take the trick shots, the dink and dunk, a couple of those could have been picked. They're not going to play our defense every week, so they're going to put up some numbers. They're going to look a lot better against the Raiders on Monday night this week, than they did yesterday. And they're going to be there in the end. But if that's the bar, I feel fine, man. There's a lot of positives to take from that. But let's dive into it. What other questions we got pertaining to the game? That was
I was going to ask you, Jake, you kind of touched on it a little bit, not having a regular offseason. When teams bring in a new quarterback or new offensive pieces, mostly the quarterback, like you said, they struggle with a preseason, with camps, with, offseason programs, all of that stuff. They still take a few weeks to kind of get it all dialed in. With that being said, what was the actual expectation in the locker room, in the facility, as it relates to what they didn't like? Was that something that they kind of expected to have to overcome slightly, or was it basically like, oh man, wow?
Minute slightly, because camp has been so on point. But you're playing against yourself every day. There wasn't even like a 2 or 3 day scrimmage with the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Dolphins or stuff that they had scheduled. Clyde Christensen said it perfect. Quarterback coach. They missed 1,000 reps of OTAs and stuff with Brady on the field. 1,000 reps. Now, if you go back to like some of these psychological experts, swing change in golf, you change your grip, it takes 10,000 shots before that's muscle memory and it's ingrained in what you do. You lost 1,000 reps. 1,000. That's nothing to sneeze at, man. That's a big deal. But no, they were not expecting to have this much rust, this many stupid ass mistakes. Another thing I think worth noting is no fans. My dad was like, I almost wish it was louder and we had something to overcome. Players get too jacked up. I actually equated it to a Super Bowl, right? You got to keep them calm because you don't want to use all this energy going into the first half because you need it in the second half, right? All day. It's a late kick. I think a lot of guys were trying to get themselves amped because there wasn't that atmosphere, especially guys that played in the SEC, where you could feel the atmosphere 5 miles before you get to the stadium, right? And you play in front of 100,000. There's nobody there. You could talk to guys across the field. That's a weird thing. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that went into this. And if you were to ask me a team led by Tom Brady was going to struggle with that, no, I said no. But they did. Now you just got to overcome it. The sky has not fallen in this crazy fan base we have in Buccaneer land, man. It's some serious takes that I get on a weekly basis, bro.
Welcome aboard, Jake.
You got a lot of scar tissue here.
We are snake bitten and we are scorned. We are a scorned fan base, man.
Jake, I gotta ask. I get the no preseason. I 100% agree. No matter what you do in practice going against each other, no matter what you do in the scrimmage against each other at the stadium, pumping in the crowd noise, it's never going to be those live bullets going that speed, the adrenaline of competition. But I have to ask, and I know you can only go so far, but when this came about, it was said that it was going to be a collaboration. And yesterday looked more of BA, more of your dad type offense. Was there anything to that, or they didn't take too many short passes, or was it they just got behind quick, or what happened there? I didn't see too much of a collab, if that makes sense. More throws to the running backs, more of the short passing game, crossers, stuff like that. It was more downfield seam, out routes, the big boy throws that Brady can make. All the people talking bullshit that he can't make, his arm's still there. I just didn't see the collab, if that makes sense.
I just retweeted a thing for Pewter Report. They broke down the 8 deep balls of the game. He was phenomenal, right? I'd have to watch the all 22, but I think it's more him wanting to play in that offense than the collab. I think the collab is, I want to do a lot of this stuff because I wasn't asked to do it in New England. I don't think anybody's touching on that. Like, he wanted to play for an offensive head coach who happens to be no risk it, no biscuit. We're going to take our shots. He wants to do that. This game flow was a little weird. He also checked to a lot of runs. I say all the time, quarterback play is played between the ears, not between the lines. If you can't go to the line of scrimmage, Deshaun Watson's going to struggle until he learns to go to the line of scrimmage and know exactly who the hot is, what the defense is going to do before they do it. Well, Phillip Rivers is a terrible example because he played like crap yesterday. They threw it 50 times. But nobody checks. They're always in the right play. Tom checked to the right play a lot. Donovan Smith struggled on one play. The Saints made a good play. You got to give them credit when they do that. It's a great question. I'm not really sure I can answer because I know there's been a ton of collaboration. Ton. To the point where they're at practice and they're like, okay, we're going to call it like this. This is how we're going to set it up. But Tom, if you don't like this route, tell him how exactly you want it. And he's been out there working with, like, cut this a yard shorter. If this is the hot, flatten this out. Don't come in bent, like all the stuff he wants. But when you lose 1,000 reps, all that collaboration kind of got lost in the mix. And this game was a weird flow. And also, when you're talking about play calling, we started inside our own 25 on every single drive of the 13 of the game.
But don't forget about the penalties. Let's look at it. When we had momentum in the first quarter, it's 7-0. We stopped New Orleans. We get the ball back with the lead. Scotty catches the ball. It's like a half a inch short of the first down. We punt and they get back in the game. And actually on that series as well, I want to say it was Jamel Dean who nearly had a pick.
Oh my God!
Right there inside their red zone that could have turned this into a 14-0 game. And we're talking about something completely different. And that happens. I do want to say one thing. I hope you didn't. I hope you weren't. I think you're just talking about one individual play, but Donovan Smith had a whole lot more issues than one play.
Oh, absolutely.
To me, he got beat like a drum the entire game. Maybe he woke up lethargic. Maybe his body and his mind just weren't in sync, and he just looked slow. He was getting beat on a consistent basis, and that has to stop. Overall, I thought we got beat in the trenches on both sides of the ball. It didn't appear like our interior defensive line was getting very much push on them. Our pass rush was non-existent until JPP was let free on a play. And then our offensive line, while they had some pretty good push in the run game, just appeared to have some, inconsistency. So what's going on with Donovan, dude?
I'd agree with some of that. Donovan's a great player. He hadn't lost it. He was damn solid last year. He just didn't have a good game. And Marcus Davenport was out. He's playing against a backup. Maybe it took him light. I don't know. because Cam Jordan wasn't on that side a ton. He just didn't play good, period. He's going to be better. The offensive line as a whole didn't have a great push to me. But the Saints are damn good against the rush. We got to give them their due here. I mean, their defense is solid. The front seven solid. They're always good against the run. I like the fact that we checked to a lot of them. I like the fact that we stuck with it, even though I'm getting killed on Twitter today. Tell your dad to play action more on first down. Dude, slow down. There's always 2 plays called in the huddle. Tom can check. Like, there's going to be a learning curve with some of that stuff. The defensive line, I disagree totally. They give up 82 yards rushing again. They look legit.
More so talking about the pass rush.
Tom get rid of the ball too fast. Like, Shaq made one play late. Tom doesn't hold it. The ball was coming out quick. I mean, he was
talking about Drew, not Tom.
Drew, I'm sorry, yeah. Drew, he was under 2.5 seconds of play. He was one of the fastest getting rid of the balls ever in his career yesterday. You're not going to have a pass rush. Maybe don't blitz as much, but dude, we gave up 270 yards total offense to the Saints. One of the most explosive offenses in the last 15 years, every year in, year out. They couldn't have played better. They just played bad in situations. Vita jumps off sides on a 4th and 2. Can't happen. Bullshit pass interference call down the middle.
Was horrible.
Was awful. Gives them a touchdown. But the defense, dude, they were unbelievable. Carlton Davis, can we get some love for Carlton Davis? Antoine Winfield Jr. is going to be a star. Played 100% of the snaps all over the place. Perfect combination of Budda Baker and Tyrann Mathieu. My boy Honey Badger. But the combination of those 2 players is a spectacular player. I played with his dad, by the way. Funny ass story. When they talk about Antoine Winfield picking off Tom Brady, I played in that game. So I'm officially old as shit. But going to be a star. Like, the defense, Jamel Dean is getting killed for the Jared Cook play, but he was the one that was right. The safety bit on an inside route. They were cover 2.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't on Jamel. That was the only big play they gave up the entire day. I thought the defense was great. It just wasn't situational. Like, it wasn't complimentary football. There was no complimentary football to win this game. The mistakes that were made at bad times.
Listen, if there was one side of the ball that, like you said, the preseason, not trying to make excuses, but it was reality, right? That definitely looked, or you can tell that the cohesion was there. It was the defensive side of the ball. The offense
turning 10 starters in their second year with Ty Bowles. They all know the basis. Now, Todd can get as crazy and exotic as he wants. They were good. There was going to be more cohesion on that side of the ball, regardless of those preseason games or not.
I love seeing Devin come off the edge as well, which your dad kind of alluded to in training camp about him rushing, and nobody seemed to follow up the question.
And there was one cross dog blitz where we blitzed Devin and Levante up the middle and dropped JPP and Shaq into coverage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal.
That stuff we couldn't really do last year because they didn't get to that point in Todd's scheme. I mean, his defense is going to be legit top 5. And the better the run game is, the better the play action is going to be. Tom's old, but Tom hadn't lost anything. Tom's always needed time to be elite. He's just had it. He didn't have a ton of time. He did at times yesterday, and he looked great when he did.
Yeah.
The offensive line plays better. We run it a little bit better. The play action, look, my biggest takeaway, O.J. Howard finally looks like a damn star. You could tell O.J. Howard's post-game press conference comments, he's a different dude. We needed a slice of humble pie. We're going to go back to the drawing board. That wasn't coming out of his mouth. Pointing fingers, I want to get traded. He's a different cat. And if he is living up to his potential, he could be a breakout star for this team. Scotty Miller was phenomenal. I've seen takes that Scotty Miller played bad or cost us the game. Scotty Miller was unbelievable.
What?
No,
Yeah.
Scotty was
that.
The cesspool of Twitter in my house is interesting at times.
No, I mean, to see what he did route running wise from where he was last year to this year, and the trust. I mean, he just looks confident, and that confidence, it changes how you play out there. It makes a huge difference. I wanted to go back to that first drive for the Bucs. Tom looked like Tom. I mean, beautifully arced passes. He was on point. They were protecting him, and you saw a glimpse of what this offense will be when everything is just right. They're humming, they're on. But after that drive, what did you see that changed? Was it that the Saints decided, listen, we found a weak link, let's just go and push at it? Well, what changed that caused that offense to just all of a sudden, take 3 steps backwards, it seemed? And I'm not really referring to Tom throwing an interception here and there. Some of that miscommunication happens, but just the offense in general looked like they took a step back from that very confident, opening drive where you're just like, holy shit, we have fucking made it.
So part of that scripted and unscripted. The second drive was still kind of on the script, but now you're starting inside your 25 again. I think the second drive they started like their own 10. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the one Stank was talking about, where Scotty caught it and was like a half yard short. So they basically executed on third down. Scotty just didn't quite get there and get it. And they punt, right? Then the game flow got a little weird. I think Tom might have checked it too many runs. I'm not sure he felt that comfortable, and I don't want to speak for him because I thought he played pretty solid. The 2 picks, the first one's going to happen, right? Like they're not sure of the coverage. Mike and him, he throws it. Mike stops, he gets picked. The second one can't happen. That's bad. He knows that. You'll never see him do that again. And we were talking about before the show, like my favorite part of all this is like the one dude I'm not worried about ever making the same mistake twice is Tom Brady. He ain't making the same mistakes in week 1 that he, in week 5, 9, 10, 12, 17 that he makes in week 1. He's never going to do the same thing. We couldn't say that on a lot of teams. You couldn't say that last year. I love that part.
I agree. I agree with that. I mean, just having a guy like Tom on your team, not only just from the sense of, like you said, the mistakes not happening twice, but we are going to face this defense again. And Tom's going to have even more to go off of. He's going to understand, okay, I saw this last time. I got you guys this time. Like, he's an offensive coordinator out there and Hall of Fame quarterback all mixed into one. And that, like you said, that was the most comforting thing about that game yesterday. Like, I don't even want to like imagine your Twitter mentions, bro, but the stuff that we were seeing on Twitter, just from our perspective, is just like, dude, chill out. Like, it's one game. We lost by 11.
Excitement. But I get the excitement. Be disappointed. Don't be depressed. Like, there's a long way to go. Everybody's disappointed. Hell, I was pissed. My dad was beyond pissed. They didn't think they were going to play like that. You could tell that in his press conference. I think one of the things telling, too, was what he said in the press conference. They didn't do anything we were expecting them to do. We just didn't execute. We made mistakes. We screwed it up. But we got from them what we thought we were going to get. I think part of that's your point, the opening drive, too. The Saints weren't sure what they were going to get. We ran it, play action here and there. They're probably playing a little soft. And then they were like, okay, let's change it up a little bit. Let's go after that. I haven't watched the all 22, so I can't really go make that assumption. But I think there's probably something to that as well.
I think part, and you touched on it with the preseason and all that stuff, but and Sammer just mentioned what happened. There were parts where I saw Brady, and we've seen it before, the Super Bowl against the Giants and in other occasions when he gets pressured, like any quarterback, he's going to feel uncomfortable. Now, you mix that in with the unfamiliarity, all the new pieces, the chemistry, the lack of preseason. There was little things, and we mentioned it. Stank mentioned it. Sammer mentioned it. You mentioned it. The perfect example is the Scotty Miller pass on third down. He put that on his back hip. If he leads him just a little bit, and that's just from, clutching, holding, being sure, the pressure, it's stuff that he's going to fix. I mean, he is who he is, and we know why he is who he is. It's just a matter of getting reps. But it was little things like that that made the difference. And with all the shit that happened and all the crap that went bad, we were still there in the fourth quarter, and we still only lost by 11. But I got to ask you, Jake, and I don't know how far you can go, but I'm sure, I'm positive, right? Because if I'm this pissed off, and Stank and Sammer, they're going to remember that they tried to score on fourth down with 23 seconds left. Right? Like, that's not something you just put away and it's like,
than a player. I don't know. But Tom's going to remember.
Yeah.
Look, there's nobody in Buccaneer NFL land more pissed off than Tom Brady. I can promise you that. The dude is different. It is like, I don't know if you guys can see this thing behind me. It's Jackie Robinson, Muhammad Ali, Babe Ruth, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and Walter Payton, right? The greatest of all time. If you're throwing another one on there, it's Tom. But all those dudes were different. Jordan would remember and point it out to you. Tom's going to remember. I think it's more of a fan thing. We got pissed off. I don't think my dad blinked an eye that Sean wanted to go for it on fourth down there. What are you going to take a knee?
Kick a field goal?
Point, like, whatever. Like, I get your point, and like, it pisses you off. But I can tell you, Tom's going to remember it, because Tom will step on your throat more than anybody. Go back to those days with Bill. It was like Steve Spurrier back in the day of Florida. They're going to put up 80. He was like, you can't stop my backups? Oh, well, I got no apologies for you. Tom will step on your throat later if they get a chance. They'll try to score. I don't know the rest of the guys. It probably permeated the locker room a little bit. I think it's more of a fan thing than anything else. It didn't actually – normally that would piss me off. It didn't even bother me.
It didn't bother me either. Jake,
Piss me off.
We were talking earlier, and let me get back to the original question I was going to start the podcast with, but let me transition to it first. The third phase of this team didn't play well either. We had a block kick. We had a punt snafu. We had a shank punt. It looked it wasn't great. It wasn't great. You being a former thick kicker, what's your take on the poor execution on special teams, and why isn't Matt Gay on this team anymore?
First of all, I have to credit. I was an athlete that happened to kick. I have to point that out to everyone.
Thick is negative. Not in my world, anyway.
Thick part was fine. I played at 208 with abs. I was good. I don't have any. I'm 42.
So you were looking to decapitate somebody on kickoffs. You weren't like jogging.
Dude. I was coming.
Did you say 280 with abs or 208 with abs? 208. Okay.
208, benching 395 with 6% body fat my second year.
Okay.
280 with abs is Aaron Donald. Yeah,
I'll explain that picture. That was like 5 months later when I tore my groin tendon off my pelvis and played that whole season like that. You ain't having abs anymore with that. And it was cold, dude. Come on. That was a game winner on Thursday night, by the way, in Jacksonville. 47 yards, right hash.
Okay.
Look, he knew the picture too, Rob. I'm trying to get it to come up on the camera, but
I see it.
I'm impressed.
That wasn't like an extra point I threw my arms up for. That was a game winner. But no, so back Matt's talented as hell. Matt's problem was the big leg never got as consistent as they wanted it to feel for a team that's going to be this good. It is much more important to be 95% from 50 and in than it is hitting a 55 and a 60, but missing a game winner from 31 or 33 and not being consistent inside 40. Suckup's one of the most accurate of all time when he's healthy. He got hurt last year. I thought he looked good. The blocked field goal was the guard got across his face, stuff you practice every single day. And Suckup doesn't get it up, but he's a veteran. He knows exactly. It's this funky little draw. He's like Steve Christie back in the day. It's ugly little funky draw, but it's smooth. It's Robbie Gold, right? We crossed the face, stuff you practice in junior high. Got beat across the face, field goal block. Cannot freaking happen in week one. Special teams are not good. They gave up way too many punt return yards to a really good player. They're not going to give that up every week. They got to get better. The muff kickoff, again, fundamental stuff you're coached. They went against coaching. Their instincts beat what they're coached out of. You don't back up. The guy behind you, both of them let it go out of bounds, and we get it to 40. Just like stupid stuff that you're not going to have later on. Special teams are going to be fine. Keith Armstrong's a damn good coach. He's been doing this a long, long time. Bradley Pinion's one of the best in the business. I like Suckup. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. But to answer your question about Matt, super talented, worth the draft pick. Kiss my ass on you don't draft kickers. They're part of the team. When you're that damn good, your 5th round pick ain't going to make the team anyway.
Thank you.
Leading scorers.
Stop with that bullshit.
You're leading scorers.
It was worth the pick. Mm-hmm. Talented kid. Going to have a long career. He's going to – I don't know what happened to kicking in the NFL, but the last couple of years has been brutal. And not enough guys can do it. Matt's got an extremely strong leg. He'll be fine. But for this team specifically, if this team was last year, he'd be the kicker. Too many expectations. Points are going to be too valuable of a commodity on a team with this kind of expectations. I think that was the biggest thing. They just wanted to see consistency every day. Look, my second year in the NFL, I missed 4 kicks the entire camp. Charted, live, anything. Preseason games, all of it. 4. They had days where they were going 3 for 5. Like you can't have that and the head coach go, that's my guy. I got confidence. Suckup came up, didn't miss. Came in for a week and didn't miss. Like, that's what I want to see. I'm going to go there. I think it's as simple as that.
Do you kind of go back to the preseason games, not having those available in terms of, stuff like the special teams mistakes? It seemed that just looked like a preseason screw up. The guys, like you said, they teach you in high school, you don't run backwards on a kickoff. You don't ever do it. You learn that in high school. I mean, maybe even before that. And then, like you mentioned, the blocking on a field goal kick, all that stuff all looked really preseason-esque to me. And that's why, I mean, the other 2 hosts on the show, they were pretty much on the ledge last night after that game, where I was like thinking, you know what?
Why would you say that, Sammer?
You guys are upset.
Because we took our shirts off on the live stream?
Do I got to take my shirt off again?
No, listen. I'm just trying to say.
I wasn't on the ledge. I'm trying to say. I'm fine.
I was confident after that game because I saw a lot of stuff that just looked like little things that just come up in preseason that we didn't get a chance to have them come up. So I wasn't so much worried about it. But today the headlines everywhere has been Bruce doesn't hold back talking about Tom's mistakes, Bruce this and that.
When you never hold back about anybody ever. Like,
exactly.
You expect him to be a different dude now? Everybody in the locker room is the same.
All of a sudden,
you screw up, you get called out, period.
All of a sudden, he's going to tiptoe and walk on eggs around Tom. Tom wouldn't want that anyway. But what I was going to get to is when your dad does these types of, when he makes these types of comments and kind of calls guys out, is there a little bit of a mind game involved in that and kind of trying to push these guys, little Phil Jackson-esque type of stuff happening? Or is it just your dad firing straight, just, hey, man, you got to fucking be better, things like that? Or is there some actual calculated thought behind it?
No, this goes back to Coach Bryant. The last thing Coach Bryant told him in 1982, he was going to be the head coach at Temple, the youngest Division I head coach in the history of the NCAA at the time. Coach him hard and hug him later. I've seen it my entire life, and I played for a lot of good coaches. Dan Reeves was phenomenal. To be able to MF somebody, to make them feel so small at the time, and then one slap in the ass, throw your hand, give them a hug, make them feel bigger than they've ever felt. I've never seen anybody else have the ability to do that. It's not calculated because he's honest all the time. Everybody has accountability. First week in Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald was on the accountability sheet 15 times, never been up there in his life, never been called out in his life. It was an issue. They had to overcome that. Tom screws up. Tom's going to be up there. The best part is Tom wants to be up there if he's up there. He wants to be treated like the rest of the guys. He doesn't want anything special. He's one of the guys who wants to be treated that way. But no, it's nothing calculated. That's just him. He's always honest. If you ask anybody that's ever played for him going back to Temple, they always know where they stand, and guys can respect that. It's the stuff that you try to go around, tip-tap here, do this here, and then it comes out that that's not what you meant. Then you lose credibility and you lose guys' respect in the locker room. If you're always upfront and honest, they know where they stand. Now, he can be harsh. I mean, it can get ugly. But it's the part of slapping him on the ass and giving him a hug that I think is missed. That part is the special part, the bond that he gets with guys. And young guys that have it always had success, right? Superstar players in high school, superstar players in college, get to the NFL and struggle a little bit. And now they're getting MF from a coach for the first time ever. They can struggle with that. But it's the building them back up, getting them through that, and they become phenomenal players because of it. And that, to me, that's his true gift as a coach, is to coach them hard and hug them later, be able to break them down, build them back up thing. But he's always honest. I don't think there's anything calculated to calling him out. He's just being honest. He gives, if you haven't figured this out, he gives away more to the media than any coach in the history of the NFL. Yeah. You ask him a question, you're going to get an answer. You may not like it, but you're going to get the truth.
What's behind door number 2? Tom Brady. I'm going to give Tom Brady a call.
I didn't buy it. I thought he was blowing smoke the entire time. Christian's telling me like he's telling us the truth. I'm like, nah, man.
Hey, you know what? They're playing games. You know what though, Jake? I would literally come back and call him and do laps around my pool. Like, bro, it's real. Like, I'm telling you, Bruce isn't lying. Nah, he's playing mind games. No, listen, bro. I listened to Jake's podcast and Jake went on there, bro. And he fucking ranted for like 30 minutes. You remember that rant, Jake, when you went on? Because Bucs Twitter's a beautiful place, right? And people were saying,
interesting place.
There's no way the Bucs are going to do this because they're going to sell their future. And they're 3-4 years down the road. And you came on and you were like, you think my dad or any other front offense gives a shit, I think you said, gives a shit about 3-4 years down the road if they can open up a 2-year window to win a Super Bowl? No. And at that moment, I knew we were moving on.
I believe my quote was, you have 6 playoff wins in your history of the franchise, yes. And Tom has 6 Super Bowl wins.
Ouch.
Why you got to be like that?
You want to tell me about your future? Or you want to have a 2 or 3 year window to win the whole damn thing, which you've done one time?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Listen, we should have done it in 99. In 99, Jake, we should have done it.
If he doesn't win building for the future, he gets his ass fired. What coach is not going to go, give me all, I want to go all in. Like, let's go win it. If we don't, fire my ass. But I'm not building for the future. I'm not going to be around that long. I'm 67.
Makes sense.
I'll take it.
I mean, this franchise was emotionally invested in Jameis. We've never had a franchise quarterback because, Doug Williams got shown.
You just traded him off early.
Right, exactly. But, I'll tell you what made me feel a lot better. And that was the gift in the addition of a guy like Josh Rosen, who decided to come here on a Jameis-esque type of deal to learn behind Brady. Now we do have a young quarterback who could potentially take the reins after your father leaves with 2 Super Bowls, because I still believe 15-1. Okay, I still believe. Anyways, talk to me a little bit about the Rosen addition and your feeling on maybe his future here with this franchise.
And before you start, Jake, I loved his press conference. He looks so fucking humbled, man. It's a different cat.
I think he needed that. That's a great point. I think another one of these superstar kids, he's a different cat. Now, his dad's a neurosurgeon, grew up in LA, UCLA, like never had any. And then, boom, those 2 years of what he went through, I think he needed to get humble. When he came out, I said he's Jay Cutler. And if he plays for your franchise for 10 years, you're going to be happy because Jay Cutler can throw the shit out of the football. Rosen can spin it. Problem is, Jay was weird with the body language, maybe not the greatest locker room dude of all time. I think Josh needed some of this to learn how to fit into a locker room a little bit better. He had options to go to other 53-man rosters. He chose to come here on the practice squad, said he's not going to go anywhere else. He wants to stay here. Learn from Byron again, who had great chemistry with in Arizona that took over from Mike McCoy as offense coordinator. B.A., Clyde Christensen, Tom Moore. I think some people forget how unbelievable this offensive staff is. The continuity and the guy. If you don't know who Tom Moore is, go Google it. Okay? Steelers 70s offensive coordinator. Lions, Scott Mitchell, Barry Sanders offensive coordinator. Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator in Indy for all 15 years. Clyde Christensen was there the whole time. You want to go learn that offense with those guys and sit back for the first time. That year in Arizona, man, they were awful, and it was all on him. He had to go out there every Sunday, get the hell beat out of him. Last year wasn't any better. So sit back, take it all in. And I did. Look, he's a few months younger than Joe Burrow, and he's got 2 years of NFL experience already. His story has not begun to be written yet. And if he can develop, by the way, he's got his work cut out for him to be the backup. Blaine Gabbert gets no credit for having like 9 head coaches and 7 coordinators his first year, 7 years in the league, something like that. This is his only time ever being the third
back to back.
like his third year in the system. Can absolutely spin it. Athletic, big. It was a 10th overall pick for a reason. Like, they're fine. The fact we talk about the backup quarterback situation is not that good. Man, whatever. Josh Rosen sitting on your practice squad. By the way, it was a no risk at all to do this. And can we give Jason Light some love for this offseason? This unprecedented offseason.
No, we can't, bro. He drafted a kicker in the second round. He's going to be hated forever just because of that.
It's by far the stupidest thing in Bucs Twitter land he missed on Aguayo. It's like every GM in the league has never ever missed on a pick. I mean, you miss
Bill
on
Belichick,
him.
the GM is below average. Bill Belichick, the coach, is the greatest of all time.
And like they just dangle that stupid thing.
They traded Mohamed Sanu for a second round pick for 200 yards and 1 touchdown.
I mean, this team is not what it is, and this coaching staff is not what it is without Jason Light. There's nothing.
I'm pretty sure we can all.
It's the only reason. Only reason BA came out of retirement.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
The only reason Tom is there. The only reason Gronk is there is because of Tom. They don't re-sign all this whole defense. Sue doesn't come back to this team without Tom Brady and a chance to win.
But I thought all that is just back for Jameis. I thought Leonard Fournette comes here and Gronk comes out of retirement and Sue comes back and JPP comes back for Jameis, right?
I'm not touching that.
No?
We're trying.
You tried, Christian.
I'm just saying Jason Light's done a hell of a job, and I see him get killed
constantly, dude.
In Bucs Twitter land. Like,
constant.
GMs make mistakes. The salary cap is in phenomenal shape. They're not the Saints. The Saints are salary cap dead for like 8 years. If Drew Brees retires, they take a $25 million dead cap space. Like,
I know you won't touch it, Jake. But we had a couple players. I won't name players. We had a couple players on the defensive side of the ball that came to the barbershop that were asked, "Hey, why you guys keep losing?" From guys that don't really watch football, just kind of making conversation. And the only response they had was, "Man, we turned the ball over too much." They had no idea, but my eyebrows went, "Whoa."
Anybody that's ever watched the game knows you can't turn it over and win. Why we lose this weekend? We turn it over. From the quarterback position.
I think that's where the bad taste comes from. I mean, losing to the Saints week 1 in New Orleans. New quarterback, no preseason, COVID, the world's the fucking weirdest place on the planet. I get all that, but the way we lost the game, the interceptions, the turnovers, it just brings up old feelings.
I get that. I think it's funny that Bucs land thinks that I'm not a historian of the game and I don't know the history of the franchise of the Bucs. I know the history of every damn franchise in the league. Hell, we played for our coach for half of them. I get it, and nobody cares more than me. When you move every 3 years, and the food is taken off your table, the roof is out, you're moving school, it is ingrained in you that Sundays matter more than any fan. I don't give a shit how much you gambled on the game or anything else matters. When that is your life, it matters. Let me ask you this, to your point, and I get the upset, I get that it's bad memories. Do you think you're going to see a pick 6 from Tom to lose the game in week 17 on the same throw?
No, absolutely not.
The mistakes that happened, I'll leave it at this without saying any name. The mistakes that happened last year were repetitive and there was no answer from the man that made them of why they made them. There was no progress. There was the same mistakes over and over. You're not going to get that now.
That's
moving on. This team is primed and ready. By the way, I hate talking about stuff that happened in the past, but I get you guys are scorned, and I gotta help you out with this a little bit.
I mean, if you're talking historian or you're talking back in the day, I told them last night on the live stream. It reminded me of you remember the Super Bowl run, Jake. Philadelphia was our big bully. They kept kicking our ass. They whooped our ass and knocked us out of the playoffs continuously. We couldn't play in the cold weather, and we had it all figured out that year. We went up to Philly like, we got it. This is the year, and they whooped our ass. And I remember with the feeling I got last night after I calmed down and kind of took it all in, and the therapeutic live stream, the feeling I got was Derek Brooks walking off that field with all those Eagles guys celebrating and laughing at him, and him looking back and saying, "We'll be back. We will be back. It's okay. Enjoy it now, but we'll be back."
Look, I think they bounce back big this weekend, but it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. And they ain't playing the Saints every weekend. Like, people remember who you played on the road in week one. Mm-hmm. One of two teams with the NFC favorite.
This week should be a cure-all. Should be. If they make some mistakes, they're going to make some. It's okay, but you're not playing that team on the road every week.
Yeah, and the other thing that I thought about today when I was just driving the office this morning, I was thinking, you know what? We kind of stubbed our toe, and we're not hitting on all cylinders, but I don't want my team hitting on all cylinders from week one. I want that happening right around November anyway, right? I want that happening as we're heading into that playoffs.
As long as it doesn't cost you too many bullshit games early.
Exactly.
This didn't cost us.
No, I think we rebound.
Fandom aside, respond. Who said, okay, we have to go win in New Orleans in week one for this to be a successful season? Nobody.
I picked them to lose.
And that's probably a very rational thought, right?
Yeah.
They're going to have more continuity. They're playing at home. I thought it'd be closer than it was. I thought it'd be maybe a 3-point game, but it's not the end of the world. Now they lose it to home to Carolina this week and make the same mistakes. We got a little more to talk about. They win by 30. That doesn't mean they're going to the Super Bowl either. It just means they bounced back and played better and didn't make some of the same mistakes. They're capable of that. Mm-hmm. But dude, look, the NFL is hard. It is hard to win games. I don't care who you are. This weekend is no exception. They're not playing the Saints.
Phillip Rivers and against Jacksonville. Everybody thought that would be a blowout, and it's hard.
It was one of my locks of the week. Jacksonville hit them in the mouth, and they had nothing. Maybe the best offensive line in football. Got hit in the mouth and had nothing to show for it. I hated the game plan, by the way. Phillip Rivers throwing it 50 times with that offensive line and that running game in the shotgun nonstop. If you're going to sign Phillip Rivers for that, it makes no sense. You can't play action off of that.
I don't see how that works long term for them at all. But I wanted to
long term. They went all in for the same thing.
Yeah, I mean long term for the rest of the season, like a 16-game season.
They'll be okay.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to a little bit of the positives that we saw this on Sunday, and you touched on him a little bit with Antoine Winfield, and man, I came away from that game yesterday the most impressed with him. I've always been a Carlton Davis guy. I thought Carlton Davis was legit. I knew that this was the year he was finally going to turn that, get over that corner and get over that hump and really start to shine. But Antoine Winfield, to do what he did in training camp, win that job, come in with no preseason, and dude,
I 100% of the snaps in week one against the Saints.
I honestly don't remember him really making a mistake. I think I remember him kind of slipping off of a tackle on a running back possibly, but his name was not called out in a bad way. As a secondary player, rookie, coming in first game of his NFL career facing that guy and Drew Brees and just playing phenomenal. I thought he played freaking great. And you're like, holy shit, this is his first ever game in the NFL. You're like, oh man, we got something special. What behind closed doors, has Bruce been just like over the top elated with what this kid is? And because I honestly think he might be the steal of our draft.
I picked him to be defensive rookie of the year on our show last week. He is the perfect combination of Tyrann Mathieu and Budda Baker. He plays so multiple. He can play corner in the slot. He can drop back. He can blitz. He can do all these different things. He's a football. Dad played 14 years. He grew up with it. He's been around it. He puts it in the memory bank. He's only going to get better. Mm-hmm. By the way, like Sean Murphy Bunting played phenomenal this game. You never heard his name called because he just was awesome. He gained a little too much weight and then he lost a little bit of it during camp. He's at a perfect spot right now. He looks phenomenal. Jamel Dean, we think, had a bad game because the ball goes right over his fingertips and we think he's going to pick, and then he gets blamed on TV for the Jared Cook long play, which wasn't his fault. He played great. I mean, we're not even talking about Devin White looks like a superstar. He's not even the best linebacker on the team yet. He's the most underrated dude in the entire NFL is Levante David. They both have 11 tackles. Levante has 2 tackles for loss again. Second in the NFL, by the way, since 2013 behind J.J. Watt, tackles for loss. And we don't talk about this dude. Best linebacking duo in the league. Sue played solid. Vita played solid. JPP and Shaq were fine. They got rid of the ball so fast, they're not going to get sacks doing that. This defense is going to be something to reckon with. And they can be so multiple. So multiple. Whether they got to play nickel, they got to play dime, they got to go base and stop. They're going to stop the run on everybody. I'm super, but they got to play more complementary football. You can't jump off sides. You can't give up that pass interference. Stuff like that. But they can be absolutely dominant. If the offense isn't clicking on all cylinders, they're still going to win games. And that's what I mean by complementary football. Special teams has to kick it out of the end zone every time. Put them on the 25. More fair catches than punt return yards. No hidden yardage in that game. No blocked field goals. No blocked punts. No muffed kickoffs. All that stuff. And then the offense can be B+. They don't have to be A+ like we had to be at times last year to win games. And the defense is going to be that solid and dominate games.
I got to argue with you, Sammer. As much as I loved Winfield's game yesterday, you were mostly impressed with Winfield as far as rookies? Because I thought Tristan Wirfs had a phenomenal fucking game going against Cameron Jordan. Every snap had 2, one false start, one other one where he missed the block. But, dude, he shut down Cameron Jordan, bro.
No, you're not
you didn't
wrong.
hear his fucking name. He was great in pass protection, and they were battling, bro. It wasn't like he had help all the time. He was left on a fucking island. That was the thing we were worried about the most. I think Tristan Wirfs was the most impressive rookie.
You're not wrong.
Listen, Winfield was fucking baller. He was balling, but
you're not wrong.
By the way, how good was the draft? We're talking about 2 guys in week 1 that played 100% of the snaps that were both phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I picked Antoine because it's just I'm a defense guy. It's a sexy pick. It's hard to also watch the broadcast and kind of focus on Wirfs and see exactly. I'll look at the all 22 and then I'll be like, oh, okay, this guy played ridiculously well for a rookie in his first game ever. But when from what you can see on the broadcast on TV, Winfield just stood out to me, man. And he's facing Drew Brees. I thought for sure if there was going to be something that happened in that secondary, it would be that kid not knowing what he's doing because it's his first time and he's facing a guy like Drew Brees. It's like trying to guard Michael Jordan, on the 96 Bulls and you're a rookie coming in. You got your work cut out for you and he's going to embarrass you. And somehow Winfield wasn't embarrassed.
Jordan on the bullets at this point with Drew Brees, but it's a good point.
he's got it between the ears, right? He's still got it where it matters. That's where
it is. He's got all the athletic ability in the world, but it's the football acumen of growing up that way, being a student of the game, studying that much. You don't go through that kind of preseason and start and play 100% of the week 1 snaps against the Saints unless they know for a fact you're not going to get beat by Drew Brees by screwing up mentally.
Yeah,
he played his ass off. I mean, look, there's a lot to take from this game in a positive way. And the more we talk about it, the more comfortable I feel with it.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah. To keep it on the positive train, if you follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen, listen, I've been the leader on Bucs Twitter, the leader in this fan base, period, in regards to Scotty Miller. Okay, he's to me, the minute that Tom Brady came here, Scotty Miller became wide receiver 1. I thought he had
people think he plays in the slot?
Mm-mm.
I mean, if you got to type, you got to type.
I keep seeing this everywhere, whether it's National Football League stuff or Bucs. Just because he's a white dude doesn't mean he plays in the slot. He's Wes Welker and Julian Edelman. He plays outside. He's one of the fastest dudes in the league.
Yes,
listen, I don't care if he plays in the slot or not.
Thank you.
Tom Brady's got a type. And as soon as he saw
plays in the slot, and that's not Scotty.
As soon as he saw Scotty, he fell in love, bro. You see, he doesn't already.
He doesn't have a type. He does not have a type, Stank. He does not have a type. He didn't have a type. Was Randy Moss the same type?
Scotty Miller is more Randy Moss than he is Julian Edelman.
Look at the stat sheet. Look at the stat sheet. Yes, Godwin edged him out by like 2 yards, but basically Scotty Miller was wide receiver 1. Mike Evans, I got to give him a pass. He clearly was playing hurt. And okay, I don't mean to go negative again, but can Scotty not, can Mike not get pulled in by Lattimore's bullshit every single time we play? I get it. Lattimore's dirty, but he goes to the same thing every time. He gets Mike out of his game. Man, I get it. You want to be tough. You want to stand up for your team, but it just seems like it's not that Lattimore is a dominant corner over Mike. It just Mike seems to get distracted every time we face the Saints.
Mike will be fine. Mike didn't practice.
I know that.
He played through an injury. Like, I'm not worried about that. I love the fact that he's got some edge. You shove me in the back, I'll knock your damn helmet off. I think this team's lacked that. You go back to like Steelers teams we were on. We had Willie Colon on our show. We did an interview with him. He was an offensive lineman. He was the dog of that Steelers offensive line for a long time. And he knew going in the game, my job is to make sure they think we're going to hit them in the mouth. You can hit us back with a tank. I'll bust the tank's ass. I'm going to hit you again. That's his job. We need that. If you don't have some dogs and ones with C's on their chest matter. One catch for a touchdown is fine. Like, I love that he did that. Marshawn Lattimore's a hell of a player. Mike's going to he's going to have his. And he played hurt. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. Scotty Miller's not a 1. Scotty Miller's a 3, maybe 5th option. He might have weeks where he's number 1.
I disagree. He's
not a 1, but he's more Randy Moss than he is Wes Welker.
Thank you. Wait, finally, somebody who understands.
Scotty Miller to Randy Moss. I'm okay with that.
In this offense, or in the offense that Tom Brady played, he goes deep.
Listen, the headline's going to read
just because he's a little white dude.
The headline's going to read Jake Arians compares Scotty Miller to Randy Moss. I'm sorry. That's just what it's going to say.
I guess, man. Listen, Jake.
Context is everything.
We've broken it down. We've broken down the game with you. We've talked about the X's and O's. But, man, the people who tune into this show don't give a shit about that stuff. They want to know.
Not really, yeah.
Yeah, they want to know. All right, these are important. They want to know, when you have your wings.
So nervous.
Do you go dry rub, or do you want those guys just covered in sauce, use a whole roll of paper towels, all of that? Do you want it saucy, or do you need them dry rub, bro?
I can go back and forth. My favorite ones in Arizona are sidelines. I go extra crispy, dipped once and grilled. Nice. So once they get dipped, and then they go on the grill, which kind of caramelizes them a little bit. So it ain't dry, and it ain't like all drippy. I can go drippy that's fine. Like, I'm a wing dude, so I'm cool either way. But that's my favorite ones, maybe, that I've ever had. They're spectacular. They come out crispy. You got grill marks on.
Sounds like dry to me.
Now, Jay.
Sounds like what, dry?
I said
they're more dry. They're more dry than wet, but you got stuff on your fingers.
More dry than wet.
I get where you're going, Jake. I get where you're going, Jake. That's not dry rub. Don't let Stank try and collude it. It's beautiful.
It's pretty dry.
No, Stank, you don't know how to cook wings, whereas Christian and myself do. So that obviously classifies as a wet wing. Thank you, Jake.
Excuse me.
I like what Stank put out yesterday, man. They look pretty good. They were honey barbecue, whatever that was. You said
they were bomb, Jake. But listen, anybody can do it. All he did was just put them in a pellet smoker and hit a button, bro. There was no skill to it. Like, the way me and Sam cook wings is the way that you eat your wings. They're double cooked, maybe oven, maybe I fry them, then oven, then grill. There's levels to it, bro. You got to layer it.
A little extra love. You sprinkle a little extra love on it.
I make love to my wings. When I grill wings, I've made love to them for 3 days before you've even put them in your mouth.
But Jake, excuse me, Sam.
Try that.
You have to ask the more important of the two questions.
Yes. So
wings. My heart is pounding. Are you going to dip them in blue cheese or ranch?
If they ask one or the other, I usually go ranch. But I'm not one of these people that hates blue cheese and I'm all ranch. But I'd probably pick ranch over blue cheese.
Did Trevor Sikkema get to you, bro?
He got you. What happened?
No, he did not get to me. And look, I played in Buffalo, which is like sacrilegious. You got to go blue cheese with the original wings of Buffalo.
Okay, so you at least understand. You understand.
I get it. I'm not a blue cheese hater. I'll dip a wing in blue cheese. Sometimes I like that better than ranch. I got a plethora of taste buds here, man. I'm not like all in on dry rub ranch only. Like, I can mix it up.
So if we had, just for, fair warning.
So you go both ways.
Look, I'm bourbon in the winter and tequila in the summer. Like,
I love it.
When we invite you to one of our parties and we've got wings, right? You need to know there's no ranch allowed in any of our homes.
I'm cool.
Okay, I'm just letting you know. It's all good. All right. As long as
you know, as below 70, I need bourbon. If it's above 70, I need tequila. We ain't talking Blanco. We're talking Repo or some Añejo.
I got you.
Yeah, Christian definitely got you.
And we ain't talking whiskey. We're talking bourbon. Single barrel Kentucky, bourbon. Like actual bourbon, not whiskey that they call bourbon.
No.
The difference.
I got you, bro. Hey, I did want to touch on it before we went to the two most important questions of the podcast. And it's more of a statement than it is a question, but I agree with you. As far as positives, Scotty Miller looked great. Godwin looked great. OJ finally showed up. Gronkowski, maybe dusting up the cobwebs a little bit, but for Mike Evans, which a lot of Buckland people, Jake, tend to forget who this guy is. As good as Godwin is, as good as Scotty is, as good as all of our other options are, a lot of people here are kind of delusional. You've noticed that already in Buckland. I've heard literally, let's trade Mike Evans because Godwin is a true number one. And although Godwin is a number one, Mike Evans is the best receiver on this fucking team. So I say all that to say this: for as bad as Mike playing through an injury, didn't practice, that to me is a positive because Jesus Christ, if Mike Evans shows up, like what the, you know what I mean? We're going to be fine.
Look, Gronk's going to be fine. I think there's definitely some shaking off some rust. I think, and Gronk's a fiery dude. So to get to your Mike, before your Mike point, like, I think Gronk was one of those energy guys I was talking about. He was like creating too much. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. I'd love to hear his take on that. I think Gronk will be fine. I think he just got to get acclimated a little bit. And the game flow was weird. I don't think we could really do offensively what we wanted to do. 12 personnel, 3 tights, some of this, like, you know, some of the stuff we set up for him. Like the one pick, Brady, the pick 6 was a middle screen to the running back. And Tom threw it out there. Like, it doesn't make any sense. No, you got to have Mike Evans. Like, you don't trade Mike Evans because Chris is a legit number one. He is. You drafted him in the 3rd round. You hit a freaking grand slam to win the World Series. Hopefully we can get him re-signed. You need both to make this run. If one goes down, I love Johnson when he gets up. I think he's going to be the perfect guy to back up Chris. But you don't want him taking over for Chris. You don't want Chris to leave either. But no, you got to have multiple guys. When you go back to the Arizona Cardinals 2008 Super Bowl run, Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden. They paid Larry, Anquan left. They weren't the same. And Chris is not quite Anquan, a different kind of guy, a little bit more explosive, but you get my point. Keep them both. Do everything you can. I go back to what Jason Light's done a phenomenal job with Greeny. This salary cap is okay. We might lose a couple guys here and there because it's not going to go up. It's going to be stagnant with COVID and all this stuff. But we're good. I mean, we can make a run at keeping this team together for a 2, 3, 4 year window.
Absolutely. Jake, thank you so much. I know we went a little bit longer than you probably wanted to go.
It's all good, man. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. I know that you do a lot of work with your family, with the Arians Foundation. Is that what's called? Arians
Family Foundation.
Family Foundation. Yeah. So I want to give you a chance to tell people about that, what you guys do, how to follow you, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, so AriansFamilyFoundation.com. My mom was a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate for abused and neglected kids in the foster care system. She was an attorney in 10 states that got tired of taking the bar. Every time we got fired and moved somewhere different, right? So she started volunteering for kids and never gave a damn she made any money as an attorney. She wanted to help kids it's never the kid's fault in these situations. So the Arians Family Foundation is all about CASAs, making sure we have more of them, more cases get heard, more kids have somebody. CASA basically goes and advocates for a child. What's best for them? Take them out of the home, put them with an aunt, grandparent. They have access to principals, teachers, aunts, uncles, moms, dads, everybody. And then they go and advocate in the court on behalf of that kid. There's nothing more important than the future of our world. And that's all of our kids and the kids that are growing up. And the ones that are in a bad situation that's not their fault, we need to do everything we can to help. So that's what the Arians Family Foundation is all about. AriansFamilyFoundation.com. AriansFamilyFoundation.org, you can get some of the BA shirts, hats, that kind of stuff. And those proceeds all go to the foundation, and they're all going to help those kids in need.
I'm gonna donate $500 to the Arians Family Foundation. I don't know why I haven't really gotten involved up to this point, but that's amazing, man. And listen,
thank you,
anything to help kids, brother.
Thank you, what, man?
I appreciate it. Help us spread the word. I mean, just as much and I appreciate the donation immensely. But help spread the word because that's just as important. More people hear about it, more people that want to get involved.
I'll match that, dude. I'll match it right now. That's
awesome.
You got it.
All right, well, let's go.
All three of us.
There it is.
The last one of the trio.
All right, then it's my job to come in, and I'll be back in a month. Let's revisit this podcast in a month. Come back on and see how we're doing after week 4.
Oh, we will only have one loss under our belt at that point.
3-1, right?
Yeah, 3-1, baby.
Yeah.
We can call it the 3-1 podcast right now. Sammer, go ahead and start making the.
You got it, man. I already made
my
it.
Headshot, promo it up.
Already made it.
Baby.
Thanks for hanging out, Jake. Freaking awesome, dude. That was fun. I hope everybody on your side of the world there stays safe and go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Bucs.